Hello and welcome to another episode of the FemiNinja Project, and thank you so much for tuning in. And as always, I have a fascinating and fantastic guest with me today. Her name is Stacy Schaffer. She is a child and adolescent therapist, author, founder, and director of Strong Hearts Counseling, who specializes in both grief therapy and synergetic play therapy. She is also a survivor of childhood trauma and a licensed professional counselor with over 20 years' experience. Her book is titled With Love from a Children's Therapist: Lessons I Have Learned Along the Way, which explores the lasting impact of childhood trauma, practical healing approaches, and the power of breaking silence through storytelling. Stacy, thank you so much for being here and welcome to the show.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me. And just so you and your listeners know, I'm in recovery from laryngitis. So it might sound a little weird, but we're on the healing end. So
Oh, good. Well, I'm glad that you're getting better. And it actually it's a lovely voice for recording a podcast. So no
well,
worries there.
fantastic then. In the right
Yes.
place.
Okay. So yeah, I'm just going to turn it over to you and just say, tell us your story. Just share it with the listeners.
Yeah. So I was born and raised in Las Vegas, Nevada, which isn't my fault. I just, showed up on the scene. And my mom was a single parent, and I'm an only child.
Mm-hmm.
And the beginning of my trauma started at age 3. And part of my soapbox is that my mom was not able to respond well to this trauma. And part of that, which I would learn later, is because of her unresolved challenge. She had a major horrible thing happen when she was young and didn't have the tools or the support she needed. And so much of what I do, my mom died when I was 22. So much what I do, I feel like I'm speaking into the void of like the parent that's like, if you had one podcast, one book, obviously everything wouldn't be different, but some support would have changed the story. So that was like the beginning, and it was a full childhood of lots of traumatic events. And so I knew when I was little, I didn't have the words for it, like a kid's therapist, but I remember thinking, some adult has to know what they're doing. I don't know any, but I'm sure that there are adults who can help. And so the long end of the story is that I became who I needed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So when you came to this realization that, you wanted to, explore this a little bit more, like your trauma and your childhood, what steps did you take then to follow that path?
Yeah, so my biggest trauma was when I was 11, and the whole year of being 11. And I remember the moment that I returned home after this traumatic thing, that I was like, that was then, this is now.
Hmm.
We're gonna start over. So in my head, I'm like, I'm gonna put all of that in a box, which we know how well that works. Put that in a box, and I'm gonna become the perfect shiny kid. Shiny, shiny. So I excelled in grades and friends, in activities. And my mom, meanwhile, developed breast cancer
Hmm.
and was dying. And I went to school. I was already scheduled to go to grad school. She died this summer before I graduated college.
Oh.
And I remember thinking, people my age do not know how to handle grief. Like, they don't know what to do. Like my like college youth group, they announced it, and people were weird. They're
Hmm.
like, I'm so sad your mom died, but I'm so happy because now I'll get to meet her in heaven one day. Someone else is like, I had a fight with my mom and I hate her and I wish she was dead. So it's like the same. And like people just ridiculous. Somebody was like, my hamster died when I was a kid. Like just the most bizarre things. And so I remember being like, yeah, people don't know what to do with grief. And so I went to grad school wanting to help people, but not with the trauma that I experienced back then, because that was a different person. That was back
Mm-hmm.
then. And so it wasn't until about a decade ago that I even started talking. I just started doing my healing work about my childhood like 15 years ago, but it was only about 10 that I started actually talking about it,
Mm-hmm.
and integrating that into my healing journey.
Mm-hmm. Well, and you have a tremendous background, very diverse, with quite a few degrees and special education, EMDR, and a lot of different therapies. So along the way, I mean, how did that happen? Did you try one thing and it resonated with you, and then it just got you excited about trying different other venues? I mean, how did that journey, proceed?
Yeah, I think that a lot of times we add additional certifications like to help more people,
Mm-hmm.
because EMDR is like the number one trauma modality,
Mm-hmm.
and so I got certified during that in COVID because what else were we doing?
Mm-hmm.
And so so that has been really helpful. I think that so I was seeing people, and I see a lot of kids dealing with like anxiety, with grief. But the truth is that, because my childhood trauma, was so intense, I'm a victim of trafficking. I
Oh,
don't see that was the year of 11.
I'm
So
sorry.
yeah, thank you. Like, so I don't see kids in that realm because I don't think it's ethical,
Mhm,
to be able to support, that I'm going to continue to heal from for the rest of my life.
mhm,
So it's a big soapbox issue for me that like we don't speak from our open wounds, we speak from our scars.
mhm,
And so I would say that, that's a lifetime of recovery. I can talk about grief until I'm purple in the face.
mhm,
And I see a lot of suicidal kids. And so those things I feel like I have a healthy grasp on. And so there's a kid's, it's like a sexual abuse one-stop shop. Like if a kid reveals that that's happened to them, they go to Ralston House, which is like
mhm,
we're really close. And so, there's like the medical, the interview, there's all the things there, and it's in a neighborhood and it's really non-threatening. They've asked me to be on their referral list for post counseling, and I don't think that it's appropriate for me to be, so I'm not. And
mhm,
so I think that, as I continue to heal, that that could shift.
mhm,
But I think that there are better people. We don't live in a small town. There are better people that are more equipped, that
mhm,
it doesn't have the potential to impact them on an emotional level the way it would me. So
mhm,
I specialize in other things. So
mhm. Well, and you have your own practice, and I love the name of that, the Strong Hearts Counseling. How did you come up with
mhm.
that?
I don't know. I think that I really liked, when I was a kid, the Care Bears like Lionheart.
Mhm,
And so I think, I mean, that just that's the beauty of like resilience, is that
mhm,
like it's the same heart, it just gets stronger. And so I think that, that was like my Instagram is hope restored, because like I like the idea of like returning to hope. And
mhm,
so I think that it's just, like a testament to like the power of the human spirit, is that like
mhm,
you're still you. Your just muscles have been strengthened when you get the right support,
mhm. Well, the right support means everything. Makes a
for sure.
huge difference. And when you don't
And
get the right support, I mean, it's
yeah, my
nothing.
mom had an incident that she d it wasn't great timing, but before I went to testify when I was 10, she's like, "I know how you feel because this horrible thing happened." It was the first time she ever said anything. Yeah, we had some challenges. And so, but I mean, obviously in her day and age, right? That was unheard of to like get support. And so, but had she had clinical care, proper care, nurturing for that one time incident, the entire trajectory of my life would have been different. Would have been
Mhm,
entirely different. And so that's why I think it's so beautiful. I have so much high respect for parents who bring their kids to counseling because they're like, I want better. Like, I
Mhm.
don't know what to do. That didn't come in the manual when they gave me my kid.
Mhm.
And so I just think that it is so beautiful to do better for the next generation.
Absolutely. Um, with all of the, I think I'm stuck on this one thing, thinking of, you deal with kids who are like suicidal, and that's how do you deal with that, and how, what age range are you talking about? Because, to me it's so incomprehensible. I mean, I know it happens, but kids
Mm,
today don't have the same type of lifestyle that I had growing up, because we didn't have things like social media and, the pressures, and, we still use the rotary phone.
nice.
Kind of miss it
Yeah,
sometimes.
I know. Like, I mean, smartphones are a gift and a curse.
Mhm.
I see I have a suicidal 8-year-old that I talk about
Oh.
in my book. And I think that I don't know, I like see like the issue of suicidality a little bit different when they're because I'm like when they're talking about it, there's hope. I think that what is really dangerous is when kids don't, and then people are like, oh, we had no idea.
Mhm.
I feel like that there is if a kid is saying something, there's an opportunity to speak into that.
Mhm.
Like if you get a window. I worked in community mental health for like a year and a half. It was not the wisest time to do that plus private practice, but I learned a lot.
Mhm.
And so I was in the adolescent intensive outpatient unit, and
Wow.
100% of the kids were suicidal. Like that's how they ended up there.
Oh.
And so, like you hear just like so much despair. But the reality is that like there are things you can offer because like I attempted to die by suicide at age 14. And so I also wrote about it. Um, and nobody knew because it was shiny. And so spoiler alert, like it wasn't effective. But I think that, um, if there had been someone to talk to,
Mhm.
if I was given that, it would have gone different. Like I wouldn't have felt so bottled up and there's only dark. Because
Mhm.
when you're young, like you can't see far ahead.
Mhm.
These kids that, my last client was in high school, like it's like everything's terrible. I'm like, you realize, Chuck's watch, you only have a couple years left in high school. And they're like,
Mhm.
it's so long. And so just that there's a beyond that. I think someone
Mhm.
who can really connect with been I don't know what it's like to be you. I always tell kids, no one understands what it's like to be you, but I
Mhm.
can say I can connect with things that you're talking about or have been through. But
Mhm.
your experiences are unique. And so I think that to combine like clinical expertise plus lived experience, I think
Mhm.
is hopefully helpful to the clients I see.
Mhm. And what about, I love the play therapy. Hang on a second. It's synergetic play therapy. Could you explain that? How does that work?
Yeah. So, SBT is probably the most common modality. It was
Mhm.
actually invented um, by Lisa Dion, who is a international educator. And the idea of SBT is that your nervous system is just picking up on so much, and we don't always have the language for how we feel, but like the body is like communicating a lot.
Mhm.
And so like sand tray is a modality of play therapy that I like to talk about a lot.
Mhm.
Um, so maybe for those who don't know, my friend Dave made me mine. I have 2 rooms, but my friend Dave made me mine. It's a coffee table that's like gutted and has inside really soft sand. And you look to the left and it looks like every Happy Meal over time exploded and ended in character groups.
Mhm.
And so one thing to do with sand tray would be like, find me a character that represents you. Show me what it's like to be you in the sand. Because, kids don't have the language to say, like, I'm feeling incongruent about the dissonance of my
Mhm.
parents.
Mhm.
And so SBT is like picking up on like kind of all the signals. And so one of the things that you would a directive, like would be to find a character to be you, or split the sand in half, show me what it's like at mom's house, show me what it's like dad's house. So an example I use a lot is that a kid in a really high conflict divorce picked Darth Vader as dad and a tiny mouse as mom
Oh,
and put themselves in the middle. I'm like, you don't have to be an expert on anything to like pick up something from that, right?
mm-hmm,
And so like an SPT therapist would be like, oh, like I'm feeling like that's a lot of like intensity. Like I think I would be scared if I were in the middle of that, and kids are like, exactly.
mm-hmm,
And so there's so much you can do with that because it's non-threatening. Like you can
mm-hmm,
show me what it's like, how you wish it were, and like everybody's together in a line again, or conversely, everyone's way far apart. And so I think that SPT is like picking up on neuroscience and nervous system regulation and all the tools that kids are communicating without words.
mm-hmm. And then, but you also use, hang on one second. Oh, yeah, the power of breaking silence through storytelling. And I really like that because I know how powerful, what a powerful tool storytelling is. And so, how do you integrate? I mean, do you integrate the play therapy with the storytelling, or is that like two separate entities?
Yeah, no, I have a wall of puppets.
Mm,
And so they're all like animals typically. Excuse me. I have one that's a three-headed dragon. It's kind of cool. You with your fingers you can move the heads.
mm-hmm,
And so like if you would say to a kid, because I see a lot of grieving kids, like once upon a time there was and then you'd have them pick a puppet. I have an owl that's head turns 360 degrees.
mm-hmm,
Like, they're like, there was an owl. And so then you'd be like, what happened to the owl? And so a kid will usually make it their story, like the owl's mommy died, and so you could be like, what if we like ended the story, like you had a different ending
mm-hmm,
to this story than what do you wish? And it's like, the owl got to live and the owl got to see, the baby owl, do those kind of things. And so
mm-hmm,
you can do so much with it that it's like they can tell you the actual story of what
mm-hmm,
happened, and you could also make alternate endings and
mm-hmm,
like what if. And so I think that that's cool because it's, like obviously it doesn't change facts,
mm-hmm.
but it can give a kid a sense of power and control over what they wish were true.
Hmm. I'm really curious. Does that work with the younger children as well as the adolescents? I mean, or is it age specific?
Yeah, I would say that that intervention is more of the younger kids.
Mm-hmm.
The older kids they're really all into Minecraft as a game.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
so I have these magnetic blocks that look like Minecraft blocks. So they would be more likely to create something like that in the sand,
Mm-hmm.
like create a fortress where cancer can't get to you, or
Mm-hmm.
things like
Mm-hmm.
that. So it depends. I'm really child directed, which means like I give them the freedom to like what we're doing for that day.
Mm-hmm.
Um, therapist directed would be more like we're doing the sand today.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm more open of like what's speaking to you. Some kids are like, today, I don't wanna do sand. I don't have the energy because I had school. Like, I want to do this icebreaker game or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And so I there's a my office in the other room looks like a therapeutic Disneyland.
Mm-hmm.
So there's a million choices, and so
Mm-hmm.
I like to give agency when I can.
How wonderful that those kids have that kind of confidence or self assurance that they could say, "No, I don't feel like doing that today."
Yeah.
Because,
Yeah,
in
yeah.
life, that doesn't work that way typically with young children, where the adults are telling them what to do all the time.
Right, and in the first session, I always tell them, I'm like, "So you have a right in here called I pass." I'm a therapist. I'm gonna ask you nosy questions to try to help you feel better. If there's something you don't wanna answer, not now, not yet, not ever, you say pass, and that's always honored.
Mhm,
And that's really important to me, so that they feel free to like not worry about if I'm going to ask the one question that they don't want to answer. And so what I've found is when kids use that, they circle back to that question themselves. Like, remember when you asked me how I felt about dad's new girlfriend and I said pass? I think I'm ready to tell you, and so I think that it increases the sense of safety because I tell them I don't want to answer the thing I don't want to answer, so you shouldn't have to either.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
It's such a gentle approach. Very refreshing.
Well, yeah, I'm like, I don't want any kid to come to my office and feel like they have a light bulb above their head, that I'm
Mm.
like, tell me the time you felt shame. Like I just like I'm not the principal. And so yeah, it sets it different because kids are told to answer adults appropriately. Like adults talking to you, answer them. And so I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, I'm not a real grown up because I'm kind of short. Usually when
Mm-hmm.
they're 11, they're taller than me. So
And then when did you decide that it was time to write a book? And I did not mention this just so I want the listeners to know that so the book was published. It's actually been 1 year. You're celebrating your 1 year anniversary. Is that right? April of
I'm in
2025?
April. Yeah,
Oh,
in
April.
April.
Okay, we're almost there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're almost there. Yeah. Um, yeah. So excuse me. My book, a lot, I would hear something. I've been in practice for a long time,
Mm-hmm.
and I would hear some similar things from kids. And how it works with confidentiality is, unless they tell me they're going to hurt themselves, someone else, someone hurting them, everything stays here. But there are things that fall in the gray area. So I always tell parents and kids, what you can trust is that I'll never quote your kid, but they want to know what's going on. So I'll tell them something I said, something that we practice as a skill. But there's a lot of things that fall into a gray area that it's like, I hate it when I hear this a lot. When my mom says she's not mad, but she slams cabinet doors. I don't like that. And so I would say, well, how do you feel about me having that conversation with mom? And they're like, no, 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 because she'll say I'm the worst parent ever and it won't go over well. So that is one incident that I'd hear about a lot. And I'm like, first of all, I want to frame things in a way that is non-threatening, that people won't feel defensive, which is why it's
Mm-hmm.
like with love from a children's therapist. But second, in our country, mental health care is a luxury. It shouldn't be,
Mm-hmm.
but it is. And so not everyone is going to have the opportunity to bring their kid to counseling. So I wanted to create something that was like accessible to a lot of people to hear what I'm hearing on the other side of the
Mm-hmm.
couch. And then about a decade ago, I started doing my own like healing work for my trauma. And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, I guess there's nuggets from that too. So that's when it like became like kind of a blend of like memoir.
Mm-hmm.
And I was on a podcast that introduced my book as a guide to not emotionally damage the next generation. So
That pretty much says it all.
I know. So I was like, oh, I love that.
Mm-hmm.
And so it became a blend of the both.
So, what was it like writing the book as far as did it put you on like an emotional roller coaster as you were going through it because you're telling your own story as well as tools and tips to be able to deal with trauma and heal from it.
Yeah. Well, a part of my platform is that I believe every good clinician should be constantly doing their work,
Mm-hmm.
whether that's like in therapy or like actively talking about it in accountability with whatever it is, like doing your work. And so
Mm-hmm.
I have a great therapist. I
Mm-hmm.
always tell kids that they have a grand therapist.
Mm-hmm.
As one kid said to me the other day, like, "Do you think I'm crazy because I'm in therapy?" And I was like, "I
Aw.
saw your therapist saw your grand therapist on Tuesday. Like, what? It's hard. Have you been outside? It's hard out there." And so I was definitely talking about that in my own work, but my self-care is I kickbox. And
Mm.
so it is my happy place. Go in there tonight. And so I would say, and I wrote about this, that I worked a lot out on the bag.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's really nice to be able to hit something. I did it through hitting people, so that was sure
Oh,
fun.
sure.
Yeah.
And that's funny because like I always say we hit bags so we don't hit people. you know.
Well, we just went for it. And, when somebody's attacking you and you have permission to, yeah, it
Oh,
was
yeah,
really
yeah.
fun. It's
That
really
sounds
fun.
great. Well,
Hmm.
yeah, sometimes the instructors will have the pad, the full body pads,
Hmm.
you know. But I mean like hit people illegally, you know.
Yes,
That's
I know.
why. Yeah, oh yeah. And so yeah, I worked out quite a bit on that bag. I feel like I think the best at the punching bag.
Hmm.
And so I would actually even think of pieces like for chapters, and I'd
Hmm.
take off my gloves and like write something down. So yeah.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, I always used to tell my sensei that I solved a lot of the world's problems when I was at the
Totally.
dojo and training because it creates some kind of a, I don't know, the creativity or the creative juices to start to flow. You can't think of anything else, that all of a sudden it's just like the brain just opens up and stuff comes pouring
Yeah,
out. Yeah, it's awesome.
for sure.
And it makes you feel like pretty badass.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say that that's true.
Yes.
100%.
Um, did you self-publish?
So I went with a company called Illumify, and
Okay.
so they're a hybrid,
Uh-huh.
and so it's like partial like independent, but then I'm publishing to to me because I didn't know any different. It felt like I just had publishers because
Right.
they did like the walking through with like the cover, which my cover is really pretty.
Oh, it is
Um,
really pretty. Hold it up
is and
again,
so
because on YouTube, watchers, look at that.
oh,
Oh, it's
and then
beautiful.
I fought for my butterfly because butterflies are my thing.
Oh, I love
And so
butterflies.
all I said was that, excuse me, I knew that I wanted it scenery and purple.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
So that's how that came up with that. And so like yeah, so I had like editor like along the way. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't know how it would be different. It felt like I had just had a publisher instead of like a hybrid or whatever that means.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, I just wondered because from Colorado, I know there's a lot of authors and a lot of publishing companies and such, in Colorado. And that's where, I lived in Denver for 47 years, and that's how I
Oh
met.
wow.
Yeah, I was there a long time.
Oh
Yeah.
wow.
Yeah. It was,
Wow.
yeah. It's been one heck of a transition, let me tell you something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a
But
lot, a
it's
lot
good.
different.
It's a lot different. And it's really weird living in the Midwest. I'm originally from a small steel town in Western Pennsylvania, which is one of the reasons why I ended up in Colorado. Yeah, long story, long backstory.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, so met my husband, and we got married, and we lived in the same house for 29 years, and then all of a sudden here we are in the Midwest. And the weather is not great.
Is it not?
No,
I've
the
never
people are, but the weather is challenging.
really.
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, but it's okay. It's okay.
Like,
It's
what
worth
is
it.
it today?
Today is actually really nice, and I was outside playing with the dogs, and so I think it's in the upper 60s today, and it feels like 60. But there's times, you look at they'd say the temperature is, it's going to be 60 today, blah, 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 blah. And you go outside and it's like, no, that's not 60. This feels like 30. Because,
You're
of
like,
course,
no.
no, no. We have the humidity here, which, you don't have in Colorado. So, yeah, that's been an adjustment. But the cost of living is great. The people are
Oh,
so nice. Everybody's
oh,
like kind. And for
what?
I know the first 2 months I was looking over my shoulder going, what do you want? Why are you being so nice to me? Where's
Right.
my wallet? Yeah.
Yeah. You're like, that's suspicious.
It is very suspicious. And the traffic is great. There's like no traffic. You can get from point A to point B, boom. So that was new. Yeah, it was weird. Weird.
It is
Yeah. So do you think that you would write another book?
Yes. And speaking, I will address that, but I have a therapy dog. And so when you said dogs, and I'm like, I don't know if you want me to bring her because she's really cute to the
Oh
screen.
yeah, sure. Are
Like
you
Willow.
kidding? We're
So
very dog
yeah,
friendly.
yes. I'm in process of thinking about another book for sure. Let me grab Willow.
Aw.
Hi, Muffin. Come. You're wanted. Come here, my love. Mm.
Oh, oh my God, she's gorgeous.
She said, "Hi, everyone. I'm
Oh,
Willow. She's a
oh,
year."
she's beautiful. Look at you, baby. I just want to scratch your little
I
face.
know she has like a squishable face. I know
Oh,
she's a doll baby. So she's like, "Hi." She greets people when they come in. I go greet, and then she goes. She often goes to the parent first, and I think it's because she knows that they don't get a session with her. But I don't know. She has a hard life. She's only had one pup cup today.
Oh dear. Well, I won't report you to the
Yeah.
ASPCA. I won't.
Okay.
Okay.
Great.
Yeah,
Yeah.
look at that face. Oh my gosh. I'll bet your clients love her.
Oh, they adore her.
Yeah.
They absolutely adore her. I have a kid that will whisper loudly secrets to her for me. They're
Hmm.
like Willow. And so no, she's a doll baby. Um, when there was a school shooting in our area in
Hmm.
September, like
Hmm.
kids kept hugging her and crying into her
Mm,
fur. She
mm.
was like, "Just give me attention. I help you."
Yeah. Was that the one in Evergreen?
Yes.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah,
Right
yeah.
after we moved here.
I'm in Arvada.
Hmm.
And so yeah, the same school district.
Oh,
Um,
jeez.
yeah, and kids were like, that's its own soapbox issue for me. I could talk about that all day, but that's like kids were like, I just knew it was a matter of time before it was in my school district.
Oh, jeez. I
Well, I
went
was
to
like,
a
I'm like,
I went to a very violent high school. We had a lot of
did you?
gang related, yeah, in Pennsylvania, yeah. Gang
Oh,
related stuff. They actually closed the school 3 years in a row. It's like every spring things would just get insane.
oh
But
my gosh.
nobody had guns. They had knives and chains and broken glass and stuff like that. But yeah, we had like the special police, we had the local police, we had the National Guard, we had the media from all over the country was there. Oh yeah,
What?
we made national news. It was
Was
awful.
it scary to go to school?
Yeah. It was so scary that there was my two older sisters and I. There were the three of us born in 4 years, so we were really close in age. My oldest sister, she started college before she graduated because they canceled graduation. They just mailed the diplomas home, and then the next year it was one older sister and me. We were there, and we were so freaked out. We were begging my parents to send us to the Catholic school.
Oh my gosh.
That's how bad it was. And they were
That's
like, we
terrifying.
can't afford it, blah 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 blah. There's too many because they had two other daughters. So finally, though, after I graduated, my younger sister, when she went to school, and she got so freaked out that my parents pulled her out, and the two younger ones went to Catholic school. It was terrifying. It was
Yeah.
terrifying. I can't imagine what these kids go through nowadays with all the shootings and they have the drills and everything, what to do in an active shooting situation. I just, oh,
But I think you can imagine it because that's a soapbox thing for me is that so that we don't know what it's like. Like I don't know what it's like to go to school scared, but you do.
yeah,
Like, and so that feeling, that's what our kids are dealing with.
yeah. And always looking over your shoulder and always, looking. My very best friend, who is also a neighbor of mine, was thrown down a flight of stairs,
Oh
broke her
my
leg.
gosh.
So she got to go to the Catholic school. Yeah, it was pretty rough. So, I mean, I just can't imagine what kids today, what they have to deal with. I feel so sad for them.
Well, the kids of today, they don't know different.
That's true.
Like, and so, I'm always apologizing. I'm like, I'm sorry we like failed you, like, cause they're just like, yeah, that's school,
Mm-hmm.
and
Jeez.
and so like I have like the day of the Evergreen shooting,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
a little really young elementary kid like bounded in and was
Mm-hmm.
like, "Did you know that there was a shooting and it wasn't the angry guy kind of shooter, it was the bad kid kind of shooter."
Oh my goodness.
And then he's like, "Did you get any new toys?"
Wow.
Yeah. I have girls that don't take care of their monthly cycle because they're afraid, because if you are in the bathroom
Yeah.
when there's a lockdown and they're like, like trying to, which is worse, like that, it's just so messed up. It's so
Yeah.
messed up.
We didn't actually go to the bathroom, and we would hold it until we could get home because it wasn't safe to go in the
So
bathroom.
you do know what it's like. That is
Yeah.
what it's like for kids today,
Oh,
like you're like, that's that a lot of those things is what they're experiencing, is that their nervous system is dysregulated when
right,
they like
right.
are walking into school.
So awful.
It's
This
terrifying.
this is a little bit off subject, but not really, because as we're talking and, just watching Willow and how she's works her magic, you know what I think I see in your future is a children's book.
Oh, there's
You know,
Stacy and
and
Willow.
and Willow could be part of it. She could be, she's okay for people here. If you're listening to this episode, great. Thank you. But I really would love for you to go to YouTube and watch the video, because you've got to see Willow and you've got to see those loose lips.
I'm going to this event in April and she gets to go as the mascot.
Uh-huh.
And there's a portion where we all wear a black dress,
Uh-huh.
and she got a black dress with
Oh,
a shiny
nice.
bow on the back. Because that's her life. Sorry about your
So,
life, kid.
since you are on Instagram, I don't know if you follow Miss Peaches, famous Miss Peaches. She's a pit bull that was adopted by, what's his name? Dave Portnoy, this really wealthy guy. He created Barstool Sports, blah, blah, blah. I used to think he was a little bit of a jerk until I saw him with Miss Peaches. He adopted this dog. He lives in Florida. He heard about this dog. He got his private plane, had him flown up to Georgia, or I think it was Atlanta, adopt the dog, took the dog back, of course, to his mansion, where he's living. I mean, this dog has got quite the life, and she was
Living the life.
famous for a long time. She was on, I think, I can't remember which night show or whatever, and she came wearing a gown, a black sequined gown with like a little ruffle in the back. Hilarious. So look up famous Miss Peaches. It's hilarious.
Okay. And it'd be like, there's another doggy with a black dress, Willow. There's a really cute picture I can send you where a kid dressed her up like in the purple cape, and she's just like, okay.
If you send me that, I will include it as a picture
Okay,
on the
it's
website
really
with your
cute.
episode. Yeah,
Okay, I can send
yeah,
you that. It's really, really, really cute.
yeah. She's just adorable.
She's a doll. She's an
Yeah, she is.
absolute doll.
Wow. All righty. So then, what were you thinking about a book for the future? The thoughts that you had.
I was thinking, well, so I'm working with my business manager to make a course right
Oh, okay.
now.
Yeah.
And so that'll come first, but the course is going to be about how to help parents navigate social media and their kids.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Yeah, and so like I really, part of me wonders if it'll incorporate like a bunch of that. I touch on it in my book, but
Mm-hmm.
um and I think that I want to continue to write more to help people with like teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
And so, the gamut of like teenage emotions. So I keep hearing in my head the word betrayal, but I don't know. Like, I just feel like I have so many ideas.
Yeah.
And
Well,
so,
what pops
yeah,
into my mind is bullying.
yeah, I do talk very briefly about bullying. Bullying's hard because it's a gray area in being the bridge between the parent and the kid. So
Mm-hmm.
like if a kid's like, yeah, this kid is being really awful to me, and I'm like, yeah, that sounds like bullying. So I'll say, okay, so I do think mom needs to know about this.
Mm-hmm.
So should we bring mom in and I'll lead the conversation? Do you want me to call mom when you're not there? Do you want me to trust that you're going to say something and I'll check with mom in 48
Mm-hmm.
hours? Um, and so, um, usually they pick like you say it.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why so many kids don't talk to their parents about it is because their parent is actually going to do something. And
Mm-hmm.
so and they're like, no, it'll make it worse, it'll make it worse.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're like, no, don't tell my teacher, like they're gonna blah blah blah. And so I'll say, like, can we agree that mom will sit on, unless it's like so, severe,
Right.
severe. Okay, that mom will sit on this for X amount of time,
Mm-hmm.
and we'll see if that does get better. But if that does not, then mom will need to intervene because this is really not okay. And
Mm-hmm.
so that usually does it. But that's the reason, because all the kids know their mom's gonna call that teacher right away. And as we know from being kids, it
Mm-hmm.
in an ideal world it would help, but it doesn't always.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I actually had the opportunity to teach self-defense classes for women and girls when I was still living in Denver.
Oh
And
wow.
yeah, and I just loved it. Oh my gosh. It's amazing. And especially, that those teenagers, those teenage years. And I did one up in a small mountain town. Won't say which one it was, but it was up there, and it was, a woman's group, and they invited me, and they were going to, women and kids. So it was a small group, and I had just like two teenagers, and they were so cute. They were tiny, petite, and they were sisters, and they're very close in age. And the one younger one, she's I think 14, and she was just bubbling and all over the place. And the other sister was just a year older. She was very reserved, very quiet, and kind of held back a lot. And we were talking about something in the class, and I said, well, for example, let's pretend that somebody's picking on you at school, and her head just turned and looked at her grandmother. Her grandma was the one that brought the girls to the class. And she just looked at her, and grandma looked at me and said, well, that's exactly what's happening, and that's why she's here.
Oh
So then it
wow.
was like, okay, thanks for letting me know. So I took a few minutes, started working with her a little bit more one on one. And, we started working on like how to stand, how to walk, how to make eye contact, really simple, basic things. And all of a sudden, you could just see that warrior spirit start to rise in her. And she started to babble and talk and, really participate. It was wonderful. And I kind of nudged her and I says, you're getting it now, aren't you? And she goes, oh, yeah.
Oh, I love that.
And so then when she went to school the next day, and I know there was no violence involved, she took care of it. She was
Yeah,
never
she
bullied
did.
again. Hmm.
Yeah, she did. I love that story. That's a great story.
Oh, and when I got that email, I was just like on cloud nine from her grandma. She's like, she's not scared anymore. She likes going to school again, and she's just blossoming. And I'm like,
She's empowered. Like she
right.
got I love that. I
Somebody
love
gave
that
her
so
the
much.
opportunity to take her power back.
Yes, I love that so much.
And
I
that's
love that.
basically what you're doing with your kids and the adolescents.
Yes. Trying. Like, I think, it's still going to be hard because it's hard to be a grown up, but my hope
Yes.
is that it's less hard,
Hmm. Yeah.
that like, because all my friends who are therapists for adults, like,
Hmm.
what are they all talking about? Their childhood, like,
Right.
their clients, that's what they're talking about. And so I'd like for there to be less of their childhood to talk about.
Right, right. Well, thank you for doing that. I think the world needs more of that. So, Stacy, where can people find you? Now, I know you are based out of Arvada.
I
So,
am. So my website, which I'm guys in the show notes,
mhm,
stacyschaffer.com, and there's like a million ways to spell my name. So
mhm,
in the show notes. And then so my website, if you put in your email address, you can get the first chapter of my
mhm,
book for free.
mhm.
And then um I did my own audiobook. I
Good
flew
for
to
you.
Nashville to do that. So my voice sounds like my actual voice. But it's on Spotify and Audible, and Amazon Barnes and Noble. And so there's a link to that. And then there's a contact me form if you want to
Okay,
contact.
great. So, if somebody would like to work with you, do you work remotely at all?
I am licensed in Random, Texas and Colorado.
Oh, okay, great. Okay, good to know. Well, Stacy, thank you so much for being here. It's been wonderful speaking with you, and I think
Yes.
your voice sounds great.
Thanks. That's good to hear. I was like, this is not great for my profession.
Oh, no. You did great. So, do you have any final little tidbits or pearls of wisdom that you want to drop on the listeners so they can mull it over before we close out?
Well, I'm hoping, my hope with my book is that people feel seen and heard at some point. A lot of my friends that don't even plan to have kids say that it's been helpful because I think it's the best gift we can give anyone is to see them and to hear them. And so
Hmm.
I hope if people who choose to read my book, that they get that somehow.
Hmm. Absolutely. Well, thank you again for your time and thank you for being here.
Yes, thank you for having me. And
How's the
Willow
weather
says
out
thank
there?
you.
Oh, Willow.
Amazing, confusing and amazing.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Hmm.
it was snowing on Friday and I'm in a sundress today. So
Yeah, I see that. I see that. It was like I knew it was snowing, but
it's
I know.
beautiful today. It's like 70.
Nice. Nice.
Confusing. Confusing.
Well, thanks again, Stacy. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Everybody, thank you so much for listening. And please do share this episode with everyone you know, especially if you know someone who has children who might be suffering or adolescents or anybody that needs help. I mean, we all need help, at some point in our lives. So go to Stacy's website, do check out her book, and get the free download of the first chapter. And yeah, connect with her, follow her on Instagram, and really, really share this message with everybody you know because our mental health is so important and it's been taking a beating lately. But we don't have to. And that is the way of the FemiNinja.